Welcome back to the Out of Bounds podcast. My name is Gavin Williams alongside
Charlie Caleri.
And friends today.
And friends.
Today we're going to cover the NFL Draft first round, and we have a lot of special guests for their favorite teams, see what they have to say about what they think their team should do.
Yeah, we got Colts, Giants, Pats, Cowboys, and Bills. All special guests today. Really looking forward to it. They have a lot of really good insight, actually.
They do.
So it's going to be really interesting.
They took their notes on this one, folks.
Oh, yeah.
Absolutely. So for the first pick in the NFL Draft, we have the Carolina Panthers with the recent trade with the Chicago Bears, which they got rid of DJ Moore. And I think Carolina has to go a quarterback here.
I agree. And I think there's probably an obvious pick at this point.
Yeah.
It's going to be Bryce Young from Alabama.
Yeah, I have Bryce Young from Alabama as well.
Yeah, I mean, he's probably the best quarterback in the draft overall, and it seems as if it's trending in the direction that he's going to be taken first. It doesn't seem like there's really anybody else that's competing for the spot right now. And, it's honestly a good pick for Carolina at this point. They need somebody to be a face of that franchise after CMC left. So, good for Bryce Young going first overall.
Yeah, and Bryce Young, he's a Heisman Trophy winner. He's been to the college football playoff. He didn't win one, but he played a stacked Georgia team, but I think this is a really obvious number one pick.
Yeah, I agree. All right, second pick is the Houston Texans. We got Will Anderson here that I got, edge rusher from Alabama. He seems to be like he's going to go number 2, but there's a lot of other guys in the mix right now for that number 2 spot, including the guy who I have going 3, but we'll get to that in a minute. Gavin, who do you got?
I mean, I definitely think Houston has to go with defense or quarterback here.
I agree.
I mean, I know you love Davis Mills.
I do love Davis Mills.
You love him, but yeah. I do have C.J. Stroud going second, but I can easily see Jalen Carter going there. I can easily see them trading down as well if they really wanted to try to get more compensation, but
yep.
I definitely see C.J. Stroud going here.
That's a good pick, too. I mean, he's definitely going to probably be the second quarterback off the board, so wouldn't be surprised if it's to Houston or the team that I am going to.
But the third pick in this year's draft, as long as they don't trade down, we have Arizona.
Arizona Cardinals.
3.
Yeah.
And this is where I have Jalen Carter going.
I have Tyree Wilson here. I feel like there's
pick.
a lot of influx for the defensive line this year. You could probably have, 3 different guys going in 3 different spots.
Yeah.
And it's kind of an anomaly, honestly, because it's just quarterback and D-line mostly at the top of the –
edge rushers, too.
Yeah.
A lot of edge rushers.
Yeah, so, I mean, Jalen Carter's a really good pick. He would definitely fit there. I have Tyree Wilson going there from Texas Tech. He's just skyrocketed up draft boards, and he kind of reminds me of Trayvon Walker, honestly, because of how he climbed up the draft board so quickly. Trayvon Walker went number 1 last year, and then Tyree Wilson was getting some buzz for the number 2 pick this year. So I wouldn't be surprised if he goes 3. I wouldn't be surprised if he goes 5, 2, anywhere in the range, 7, anywhere in that range. So it's going to be interesting to see where these guys fall.
Yeah, absolutely. And here we are with our first special guest appearance. Ian Kennedy, proud Colts fan.
Yes,
say hello.
sir. Hey, I'm welcome to be here. Such an honor.
Absolutely. So, Ian, with the Colts, who do you think you guys are going to choose this year?
I honestly think we're going to take Stroud because I believe that Bryce Young's going to go 1. And then I think the Texans take Tyree Wilson. And then I think the Cardinals have to go defense. So I think that leaves us with either Stroud or Richardson. And I'm more of a Stroud guy because I like his height, his arm strength's nice, and I feel like he'd make better decisions than Richardson.
Absolutely. And actually, with carrying on who you thought the second guy was, I have Anthony Richardson here.
Really?
Because I think I have the 2 first picks being 2 quarterbacks. The third quarterback off the board is already in pick number 4, and I think that they pick up Anthony Richardson. I feel like that's a good fit with his height and stature.
I like that, but I also have C.J. Stroud here. I think that I think he is the second best quarterback in this draft, and
absolutely.
While I do like Richardson's intangibles of what he has, like his height, I think he's pretty comparable to Josh Allen in his in his size and his frame. But I think honestly, this pick what the Colts need is a guy who they know can go in right away and probably just take the starting job and run with it, kind of be their franchise quarterback for the next however many years, 10, maybe 12, 15 years. So, and I think Stroud can be that guy for them.
So, Ian, I have a follow-up question. So, if you guys got AR-15 instead of C.J. Stroud, would you be happy or disappointed?
If C.J. Stroud went earlier in the draft, on the 2nd or 3rd pick, I would not be mad at Richardson, but I would much rather prefer Stroud over Richardson. But I mean, if they take Richardson over Stroud, I'm still going to be happy with what they pick because you got to trust the system.
Now, Ian, what do you think that some of your other team needs are going forward in the draft?
I really think we need a cornerback. I got 2 names. I got Emmanuel Ford from Mississippi State. I think he could be very nice. And then I have Dingo from Georgia, who could be very nice.
Oh, yeah.
That's a great one.
I also I would like a wide receiver, and I have, and maybe in the 3rd round, we could trade up or trade down to get Jonathan Mingo from Ole Miss.
Jonathan Mingo.
Yeah. That'd be really interesting for the Colts. I feel like that division's pretty wide open this year. It's up for grab for any of these teams in the top 11, 12 picks and for the AFC South. So
especially with all the teams being young this year, I think that's where we're going to see a lot of grit going on over there. There's going to be a lot of tight games, a lot of physical games.
And I feel like a lot of those teams match up pretty well against each other too. So that's going to be a really interesting development to see how that division plays out this year.
Absolutely.
Hey, I'm excited. Excited. Can't wait.
Absolutely. You know what? Once again, thank you, Ian.
Thank you, Ian. Anything else before you go?
I just want to thank Charleston and Gav. Great 2 men.
Thank you.
Thanks,
Hey,
dude.
go Colts.
Thank you.
Hey,
go Colts.
Go Colts.
So, after the Colts, we have Seattle. And I think the position I'm going to choose for them has a lot of variety in this draft. I think there's a lot of edge rushers in this draft who can go first round, but I'm going to put it out here. I'm going to say Will Anderson Jr. from Alabama is going.
That's a great pick. I have Jalen Carter, but I have Will Anderson going to Houston. So I think that honestly they need D-line there, specifically edge. So Will Anderson would be the ideal fit for them. But I think that Jalen Carter, honestly, can, if he falls to number 5, I mean it's going to be a steal for any team that gets him.
I don't see him going past 5. And if he
me
gets out
neither.
of 5, whoever gets him is running away with a robbery.
Yeah, I mean
call the cops.
They're getting an A+ grade.
Yeah.
Yeah, call the cops. They robbed him.
Yep. With the next pick, it's Detroit at the 6. And right here, I have them getting a corner just because they let Jeff Okudah go. And that's why I'm choosing Devin Witherspoon from
me too.
Illinois. So, yeah, I think that's definitely who they need to go. They need to go a cornerback route, in my opinion, or at least D-back. Because I think they just need someone. They have a hole now. I mean, Okudah wasn't the greatest. They thought he was going to be a lot better, but I think they definitely need to fill that hole.
Yeah, and I agree. I think that, honestly, even though it's a small departure, but the departure of Okudah creates a massive hole in that team in an already, kind of thin secondary. So I think Devin Witherspoon would be a great pick here. He seems to be the consensus corner, but there is probably a 2-man race right now. It reminds me of a lot of that J.C. Horn, Pat Surtain draft, and I feel like this is kind of the same vibe here I get from Witherspoon and the other guy that we see as the second cornerback.
Absolutely. For the next pick, we have Las Vegas, and I'm going to sound like a broken record here, but I think Christian Gonzalez from Oregon, I feel like he's the next best corner in this draft, but I think Vegas has a ton of holes that they're going to try to fill up on this draft because they are a really empty team. And I think they kind of proved that last year with a disappointing season. And with Garoppolo coming in, I think they're going to have to try something else with defense. So that's why I'm choosing another corner and Christian Gonzalez from Oregon here.
This might be a hot take for my pick for Vegas, but I have Anthony Richardson going here. I know they just brought in Garoppolo. But the Raiders are not a team that you can ever really predict their first-round pick. We've seen it a few years back.
Yeah, that's
Cleveland
very
Farrell,
true.
Alex Leatherwood, those 2 kind of came out of nowhere. They didn't really pan out. I feel like this could be a spot where they go, hey, why not just get another quarterback? Why not? It could be a trade piece for them.
Yeah.
They definitely need to fill holes. They could definitely get 2 players for Richardson right off the bat, even if he's not even playing for them. So I think they could go Richardson here. Well, I don't think it's all very likely. I think that, honestly, it would not be a terrible pick.
Yeah, I do like how you said Anthony Richardson because I feel like a lot of analysts are saying that he needs to be in the shadow of a vet. And when I think of that, I think of Brett Favre and Aaron Rodgers, and then I think of Aaron Rodgers and Jordan Love. I mean, we don't see what Jordan Love's done already just because he's only had 2 games where you start. But I really do believe if you put him behind a true winner, and I'm not a Garoppolo fan. Charles knows this. I hate Garoppolo. But if you put him behind a winner like Garoppolo, you're not getting like the Aaron Rodgers like Jordan Love had, but you're still getting someone who will put him behind the ropes and teach him what he needs to know, how to play at the highest level.
Yeah, I think honestly that Richardson does need to be in the shadow of a veteran quarterback just because he's such a raw prospect but with such big upside. It's kind of like Josh Allen. Richardson 6'4", 236, somewhat comparable to Allen. Kind of plays similarly too, honestly, with that big frame. He can kind of run a little bit. Great arm. The accuracy's kind of iffy. That's where I think he's going to fall a little bit. But I think that the Raiders could really take a chance here and maybe find their next franchise quarterback, even if they don't think that it's going to work out right away.
Yeah, I definitely agree. With the 8th pick, the Atlanta Falcons are up. I have another edge rusher going, and I have Tyree Wilson from Texas Tech. I know you had him earlier.
Yep.
But I think if he does fall this far, Atlanta's got to pick him up.
He could definitely be a guy that goes anywhere from 2 to 10.
10, yeah.
I mean, it's kind of weird because usually top 10 picks are within 3 picks. They know they're going to go to these 3 teams. Tyree Wilson's not that kind of guy this year. He's going to be kind of open to everybody. If they wanted to take a risk on him, they can. I have Christian Gonzalez here to the Falcons. I know they just got Okudah from the Lions, like we just talked about, but I still think that their corner depth could use some help. Maybe he can compete with Okudah, honestly, for probably the number 2 job there behind A.J. Terrell. So I think that Atlanta going corner here is a very good possibility.
Yeah, I really like that pick, especially because since this division is so wide open, I think Atlanta could very possibly win this. They could very be representing the NFC South in this year's playoffs.
I agree, and I think it's funny that both South divisions are just wide open this year. I mean, both divisions weren't great last year, kind of both galloped into the playoffs, kind of like, oh yeah, we made it. Like, I know the Jags won a game, which is great for the franchise. I mean, that's a franchise turn and win right there. So, Jaguars on the up and up, Bucks on the down slope.
Yeah.
Falcons, Saints, Panthers saw that they're trying to even out the playing field right now. So it's going to be really interesting to see how the NFC South and AFC South both play out this year.
Absolutely. Moving on to the NFC North with pick number 9, we have this team, guys. This team, the Chicago Bears.
Yeah, they traded out of number 1 to move down to this pick, so it's going to have to be a good pick for them to be, it's always going to be compared to, probably Bryce Young going number 1. It's going to be, they traded this guy in the deal for Bryce Young. So I think that they're going to go D-line too. I mean, you could really pick anywhere on the field for the Bears, but I don't really have a specific player, but I think that D-line or O-line could just definitely help them out, especially with Justin Fields due for a breakout season this year.
I'm going to tag team on this. I have him going O-line. You need to protect Fields. If you're a Bears fan, the last thing you want is him shattering his collarbone because of a sack. I mean, I've seen it happen to Aaron Rodgers, unfortunately.
Yeah.
But I have him choosing Peter Skoronski from Northwestern. I think he's a really good O-lineman. He's got a good stature. I feel like I keep saying that. But this is a really good draft class, I think, and the size that they have. I think there's a lot of big guys who can really step in, especially with an O-lineman. I think this is very O-line heavy, and I really see them getting some protection so they can focus on the future with Justin Fields.
And honestly, I think that Peter Skoronski would be a really good pick here. He'd be staying in Illinois, played his college ball at Northwestern, so that'd be pretty good fit. Talking about players staying in their same states.
Yeah.
The reason why I didn't have a specific player for the Bears is because leading into the next pick here for the Eagles, I have them going with O tackle too.
Okay.
But it's between 2 guys, Paris Johnson and Peter Skoronski. Those are the 2 guys that are looking to be flipping back and forth between 9 and 10. But I think that Skoronski goes to the Bears just because of that Illinois connection. Usually that's how those things tend to go. But Paris Johnson falling to the Eagles would be amazing after going to the Super Bowl. You get a top 10 pick. I mean, what more could you want?
Yeah. And I'll get into Paris Johnson later. I actually have him below the top 10. When I think about the Philadelphia Eagles, they're just coming back from a championship run where they just came off short. They lost a piece. James Bradbury.
Big piece.
He was a huge piece.
Yeah.
I have them immediately filling him right here. I am going to stick to the common theme, I guess. I didn't really notice this when I was making my mock draft, but Joey Porter Jr. from Penn State, staying in the same state. I just feel like he's a dog. He's he has a great way of reading the quarterback. He has a really good over-the-shoulder awareness, and I think this is a good pick to fill in a young James Bradbury like they have to.
Yeah, I think that Joey Porter's going to be a really, really good player, and it's weird because, growing up, caught the end of Joey Porter Sr., so it's weird seeing the son come into the league now, and it's really interesting because it's going to be kind of like that for the next few years. Arch Manning's coming up through the system.
Yeah.
I know he's the nephew of, Peyton and Eli.
Yep.
So it's going to be really interesting to see how those guys come into the league like that.
Yeah, that's going to be fun. That's going to be really fun. On to the next pick, Tennessee's at 11. This is where I have Will Levis going from Kentucky. I think they really need someone go into that quarterback spot. I mean, Ryan Tannehill's on the last couple of years of his whole career in total, I think. And obviously, we didn't really see much from Malik Willis. I mean, I know Chris Collinsworth was giving him a lot of credit against the Chiefs team. I didn't see it.
Me neither.
I like Will Levis here.
Yeah, I also Will Levis here. I think it's an obvious need, whether this be a Richardson pick if Levis goes earlier or, both of them are still there. They still go Levis, might go Richardson if
Or
he's
if they
still
trade
there.
up, too.
Or they could trade up. I mean, this is a team that needs a direction. They don't really have a direction right now. I mean, they're kind of stalling out. They had a lot of injuries last year. They lost a lot of guys. They're due to lose a lot of guys in a few years, just like Derrick Henry. So, I mean, can we see the Titans start to go into rebuild mode when all the other teams in their division are going up? Or do they say, hey, we could still try to compete for a division title, keep moving up? I mean, I think they just really need to pick a direction. But going with the rookie quarterback here, I think you got to just try something at this point.
They have to try something because last year did not work.
No, not at all. I mean, going from the 1 seed to out of the playoffs can't happen,
No.
especially for a franchise like Tennessee who doesn't really get big-name free agents already. So losing that top-tier pedigree in the AFC really hurts them a lot for the future.
Absolutely. I mean, just a couple years ago, they were the 1 seed in the whole playoffs.
Yeah.
It's unbelievable.
Unbelievable,
what's happened in
honestly.
Tennessee.
Yeah.
For the next pick, Houston again. And for Houston's pick, I have Lucas Van Ness from Iowa.
I like that pick a lot. I have Will Anderson going there with pick 2, so I don't think that they're going to go with the second edge player, but I think that you could be looking at a offensive weapon here, whether that be a wide receiver or if they really want to reach on a running back. I know they have Dameon Pierce there, but never really hurts to have another running back, especially with Bijan Robinson's type of pedigree that he has going into this draft. But I think that they definitely need somebody on the offensive side of the ball to try to, just like Tennessee, will that team into a right direction. I think they're doing really well with, everything that's going on with that franchise, the overturning year after year. Had, 3 draft picks a few years ago when they drafted Davis Mills?
Yeah.
Their first pick was in the 4th round a few years ago.
That was insane.
That's insane.
Unbelievable.
So I think they're doing really well, accumulating assets, and I think going here you need to split it between, if you go defense at 2, at 12 you got to go offense. If you go offensive at 2, you got to go defense at 12. You got to get one on each. If you want to load up on both, I would lean towards the defense.
Yeah, absolutely. I would too.
Especially because of the defensive line in this draft, but I don't think that drafting 2 edge rushers in the top 12 would be a very smart move for the Houston Texans.
Yeah, absolutely. With the next pick, the 13th pick, newly after a trade, that makes me sad to this day, the Green Bay Packers.
Yeah, and Gavin, I really want to hear your thoughts here because, later we have the Bills coming up, Ryan Taylor, special guest.
Yep.
I want to hear what you really have to say about the Packers and where this franchise could be headed.
All right, so I have a couple opinions on this whole dilemma. Aaron Rodgers, one of the greatest ever step on the turf or grass. I think he will go down first ballot Hall of Famer, obviously. Now it's J-Love time. It's Jordan Love time. It's been 31 years since the first time that Brett Favre or Aaron Rodgers has not been a starting quarterback.
Which is an absurd amount of time. That's people's lifetimes where they've only seen 2 quarterbacks for the Green Bay Packers. So
my hope, Jordan Love. I want to see some special plays out of this kid. I don't see a rebuild here, though. Necessarily, I do not see a full-blown we're going to be the worst pick in every draft rebuild. I see us being from the 10 to the 15 range next year, maybe the 10 to the 18 range next year, somewhere around there. I don't see us being bottom of the NFL. I don't see us being top of the NFL. But something that I got to think right here, Jordan Love, we didn't do it for Aaron Rodgers. Maybe that's a great time to take that as a note, flip the scripts, get a receiver right here. If he falls here, Jackson Smith-Njigba is a dog. We need him so very bad. We have great guys on the offensive side of the ball. I think of Aaron Jones, Christian Watson, Romeo Doubs had a really couple good games this year. We're also missing a tight end because Robert Tonyan left. So if they went with a tight end, I wouldn't be mad. But if Jackson Smith-Njigba is up there, you need to take him.
Got to take him.
But I think this is a really open team. I was telling my brother last night, shout out Connell, I think we get 6 or 7 wins this year, 7, 8 wins.
Really?
I think
so.
This is Jordan Love's time. He's been waiting 3 years for this.
Yeah.
Drafted him in 2020. But with Green Bay, my favorite team, I really need to see them pick a wide receiver for the first time in forever.
You touched on it a little bit. I was going to ask you about it even before we got to the Packers. But you think there's a chance to go tight end here because they lost Robert Tonyan?
Oh, big Bobby Tonyan, man. I love that man.
Bob Tonyan.
But he's a Bear now. I don't associate with him anymore. So, if we do go a tight end, I would really, really, really like to get Dalton Kincaid from Utah.
He's a great pick. That was the guy I was going to mention, but
yeah, absolutely. I mean, I think that guy's unbelievable. Between him and the one from Notre Dame, I think they're both really good, and I think their hands are good. They're good in open space, but I think for Green Bay, they really need to surround Jordan with some weapons. And if they go defense here, I don't see it happening, but I guess we got to get a linebacker. I don't know. I think the defense is pretty decent right now. I would wait for the later rounds for that.
Do you think there's a chance that, like you said, if if it doesn't really play out the way that they think it will, do you think there's a chance that they maybe trade back and get more assets? So maybe, trade back with a team like maybe the Chargers who might need another weapon because they're trying to compete with the Chiefs every year. This could be a spot, honestly, where the Chiefs move up, too. They've been rumored to move up. It would be a lot for them to move up, but you guys would be getting a lot of assets if you guys were to trade back, I think.
Yeah, absolutely. I've been thinking about that, especially because when we came out with the trade and we moved up 2 spots, that's a good chance, or let's say a better chance, to get Jackson Smith-Njigba. But if he's gone, I wouldn't mind trading back. And the only reason being is just because I am going to be that guy. I do have a lot of confidence in Jordan Love. I think if you're sitting behind Aaron Rodgers for 3 years, he's definitely taught you something. They had a good relationship. It wasn't like Brett and Aaron, because Brett didn't treat Aaron like a friend, but Aaron treated Jordan like a friend. So I think he's learned a lot, but get him a weapon. If he's gone, trade back if we have to. I just really want someone on the offensive side of the ball.
Yeah, got to trust your quarterback, but can't trust him without any weapons. So that's a great pick.
Absolutely. And our next special appearance, special Patriots fan over here.
What's up?
This is Hove.
Giovanni.
My name is Giovanni. Hove Souls, Hove Cliffs.
Hey, if you need a haircut.
If you need a haircut, it's $10. You need anything you need, I got you.
Absolutely. So with the Patriots pick here, I think they have to go a wide receiver.
Yeah.
But I want to see who you have to say.
You know who I really like?
Let's hear it.
I like Zay Flowers.
I like Zay Flowers too.
And I like BC too. Might be why, but just seeing him go from BC to the Pats would be pretty cool. Have him stay in Mass.
I like that pick, but I'm also going to go with a different wide receiver. I'm going to go with Quentin Johnson from TCU.
Yeah, I was thinking that. Yeah.
I just think he's a dog. He's got the stature. He really proved himself this season.
Yeah.
And I really think he played a great game, not against Georgia, but against Michigan.
Yeah, unfortunately. Yeah. And, he really did light us up, and Quentin Johnson's a really good wide receiver. But I do like the Zay Flowers picks there because, keeping a guy in his home state always is, really cool. Like Aiden Hutchinson going to Michigan.
Yeah.
I thought that was really cool. Zay Flowers going to the Pats would be, I think, really cool for that fan base, probably because most of them are BC fans, right?
Yeah.
the Patriots are notorious for having a small guy like Edelman or Wes Welker.
Yeah.
And if you keep it small, have Zay Flowers, I think that's all about the Pats.
Yeah, but he's like really explosive too. Like I don't know, his athleticism is crazy. His agent was like hyping him up like crazy. He's like, if you don't take this guy, like if he's not the first wide receiver off the board, then all these other teams are just gonna miss out. And I'm like, chill. I mean, just wait for the Patriots. The Patriots gotta grab him. But yeah, if they don't go receiver, hope they go like DB.
Yeah.
DB.
But that's like if they do what they did a few years ago and draft like a D2 quarterback, do you remember that?
Oh,
I don't even remember who they drafted, bro. That actually got me really mad. But yeah, I go Zay Flowers, Jackson Smith. If they go him, I won't be mad. But yeah, Zay Flowers, Quentin Johnston. But he has to get his hands he has to get stronger hands.
Yeah, I agree. What other, besides you mentioned DB, what other positions do you think that they could possibly go here in the first round?
Probably like a tackle. Probably grab a tackle.
Try to protect the quarterback a little bit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I saw something about them like wanting to get a quarterback. Stupid. I think that would be really stupid because we have Mac Jones. He's all right. Made a Pro Bowl.
Bailey Zappi.
Yeah, it's Zappi hour. I would not mind to see Bailey Zappi at quarterback. Though.
That's really interesting. I didn't really even think about quarterback for the Patriots, but I guess it's kind of possible. Honestly,
yeah, I would not be surprised.
If Will Levis falls here, I think that's very.
I think that's a really good pick for them.
I don't really want Will Levis.
I mean, I think you're kind of stuck with him
if he falls to the Patriots. They're
I don't really want. I'd rather just Zappi and Mac Jones just go for it at camp. This summer and whoever earns that spot. But I really do think they should give Bailey Zappi a chance to really get that starting spot.
I mean, they love him.
Yeah, they do.
You see him in that Bears game. That place was it was erupting.
Yeah,
he was the most famous man in New England.
Besides Tom Brady.
Well, currently in New England.
All right, hope you got anything else before send off?
Nah, but if they do draft a corner, they gotta draft Joey Porter Jr.
Absolutely, thank you, Hove. We'll have you back soon.
All right, moving on from the Patriots right now, we got the New York Jets, another AFC East team. Big into the news recently, acquired Aaron Rodgers. So this is
Love you, 12, forever. Love you, 12.
This is a really tough spot for the Jets here because all eyes are going to be on them. So, Gavin, what do you think the Jets are going to do this year?
So I mentioned earlier Paris Johnson Jr.'s name. I think this is where he's going to fall to. And I think the main position they really need to focus on is protecting a bad man in Aaron Rodgers. They got to protect him. I love him, but he's getting old. He's going to be fragile.
Yep.
You got to protect him with an O-line. Any O-line here, I think either Darnell Wright, Broderick Jones, or Paris Johnson Jr., they're all going to – one of them's going to go to the Jets.
I agree. I think you got to go offensive line anywhere here. It doesn't hurt to have extra offensive linemen. I think this is a spot where the Jets can afford to reach on a pick.
I agree.
Honestly, so I feel like a guy, like the guys that you mentioned, I feel like those guys can maybe be reaches in the spot, but they're definitely necessary for the Jets if they want to succeed this year.
Absolutely. And I think that's what they're in win now mode officially.
I guess, yeah.
So they need someone to protect Aaron.
Yeah, I agree.
Because they do not have David Bakhtiari, the best left tackle in the game. Anyways, going on to number 16, we have Washington. This was a hard one for me.
Really?
I just feel like they have so many holes they gotta fill, and I'm gonna stick for these next three picks. I'm gonna sound like an absolute shattered record. I have the Jets, Washington, and Pittsburgh taking an O-lineman back to back.
Oh wow! So you think that there's gonna be runs on O-lineman?
Absolutely, and this is where I see Darnell Wright from Tennessee, and I think he really proved himself, especially against that Bama game. That's a hard defense to cover. Alabama's notorious for both sides of the ball.
Yeah, and honestly, I know you already mentioned him earlier, but I think this could be a spot where Joey Porter goes too.
Yeah,
so I think that with their defense last year, they're a really banged up team. They're always hurt somehow. So I think having the extra help in the secondary and for a team that could potentially sneak into a playoff spot this year, I think that Joey Porter would be a really good fit to just go right in there, compete for a job. I think he could slide right in there, be an impact player on this team right away. Not saying that they're going to go specifically corner, but I think that it's a very good possibility for them to at least go defense here.
Yeah, I agree. The next pick with number 17 is Pittsburgh. Here's a shattered record again. You gotta protect Kenny Pickett if you believe in him. And this is where I have Broderick Jones from Georgia going.
Yeah, I mean, Broderick Jones, he protected Stetson Bennett pretty well, so I think that'd be very good for him. He's used to protecting a smaller quarterback,
Exactly.
so
That's what I was
think
about to say.
he would slide right in there. Probably be, just like I said, another impact player for the Steelers team who needs to be able to run the ball more with a guy like Najee Harris back there. He's due to have a good year, and he can't do that with the O-line that they have right now.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, there are so many holes in that O-line. And when I used to think of watching the Steelers in the Big Ben days, he always had all the time in the world, and they're missing that. So
Yeah.
I think if they start filling in those holes, this is where they could get Kenny Pickens to play his best.
They always had a good lineup in Pittsburgh, top 5 at least, with Pouncey, Villanueva leading the charge over there. They had a couple of guys towards the end of Big Ben's career revolving, but they were always solid. So I think that O-line here maybe get back to that kind of play for Pittsburgh Steelers football, not do what they did last year.
No, last year was horrible for them.
Yeah, they need a direction too, I think, and I think they're trending in the right direction. I mean, Mike Tomlin's I think we could say he's one of the greatest coaches of all time at this point. So
absolutely.
I think that they're due to have a good year, and just like I said, they need to protect the quarterback to have a chance at being good.
Yeah, and I think if they do go O-line here, I think they might have a shot of going into a 7 seed this year.
Yeah, maybe. They were really close last year.
Yeah. So if that's their missing piece again, the playoffs, Steeler Nation will be happy. Next pick, we have Detroit again. And, man, this team, if they don't mess up in this draft, they can be in the playoffs. Let me just say that.
I think they should be in the playoffs. If they don't, the only thing I can see holding them back is maybe Jared Goff, but he's not even that terrible for them.
He had a good season last year.
Yes, so I mean, I think there's a really good chance that they can even maybe compete for the division this year.
They might win the North, especially with Dalvin Cook's rumors going on. I think if Minnesota trades him away, this could be a big deal breaker. But I have Detroit taking Brian Branch, defensive back from Alabama.
Yeah, I think, like we said before, I mean, they got to fill the secondary. But I have Nolan Smith here from Georgia.
Yeah.
I think he was projected to go pretty high just a few months ago, and he's kind of fell down some draft boards. So I think this could be a really good mid-first-round steal for the Lions, especially because they have a really young team so far. So he would slide in right there with Aiden Hutchinson on that D-line, probably opposite of him.
Yeah.
Going against
Both
the other
those guys
tackle.
Coming at you at once. Now,
Wow.
That's a quarterback that's going to be scared in the pocket.
Yeah, but you know who can break out of that?
Josh Allen.
Josh Allen. Well, I was thinking Jordan Love.
Oh, exactly.
Yeah.
You
And
know.
Justin Fields.
Well, we don't talk about the name in this room. Anyways, Jordan Love, get ready because this boy's got some wheels and he's young.
Yeah, he is, and he's going to be really good if the Detroit Lions pick him up. Like we're talking about with the identity of teams, here's a team with the next pick, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. They don't really have identity anymore because their identity was Tom Brady. So I think that they are in a really tough spot right here. I think they could really go with a lot of things, even though they have a lot of really good players on their team still.
Yeah, I mean,
it's kind of just like a skeleton without, everything else. So what do you think that the Bucs could use right here, Gavin?
When I think of this Bucs team, I think the Bucs, if they're smart here, I think they should definitely try trading up for a quarterback into a top 10 slot. If they're smart, and if their front office is doing everything right, I think they should go right up. But if it doesn't happen, this is where I have Nolan Smith going.
Yeah, he's going to go in this range. Even with bringing in Baker Mayfield, I think that moving up to take a quarterback wouldn't be a terrible move. I have them going O-line here. You can go anybody from Darnell Wright out of Tennessee to, maybe Anton Harrison out of Oklahoma. Those are two pretty big guys that can be on the other side of Tristan Wirfs. So,
yeah, Tristan Wirfs, he really proved himself his rookie year.
yeah, I mean he's
Super Bowl champion.
He's one of the best tackles in the league right now.
Absolutely, I completely agree.
Yep.
And a name you just said for the next pick, Seattle Seahawks select Anton Harrison from Oklahoma, offensive lineman.
Yeah, I think you could really go with a lot here for Seattle. Just like I said for Houston, Seattle at 5, if they go the offensive player, I think you go defense at this pick. If they go defense, I think you got to go offense here, and I think it's got to be offensive line. I mean, they have a lot of really good weapons there.
Mm-hmm.
I think this is not a spot where you can really grab a quarterback.
Yeah, no.
So
and they just re-signed Gino for 3 more years.
Yeah, they just re-signed Gino, so I think that's a pretty long shot for them looking to get a quarterback at least this year, maybe next year. But I think O-line is definitely a need that they could use right now.
Yeah, and bringing up your point from defense to offense or from offense to defense, that's why I have Will Anderson Jr. for their first pick, and then their second pick would be Anton Harrison for the O-line. Now, moving on to a team that had a horrible playoff, the Los Angeles Chargers.
A very forgettable playoff game for Chargers fans, all 13 of you out there. I think this is a spot where we've mentioned it before. Zay Flowers, you could see a guy like him go here. I think that they need another weapon on that offense to really get them to go. I know they have Keenan Allen, they have Mike Williams, they have Austin Eckler, they have Justin
Well,
Herbert.
they might have Austin Eckler. Because remember, he requested a trade.
He did request
so
a
we'll see what
trade.
can happen
I don't
here.
think that'll end up being anything, but
I think he'll stay.
yeah. But regardless, having even Mike Williams and Keenan Allen is enough to probably get you into the playoffs. But the only thing is that they're usually not healthy at the same time, so that's going to be a big thing for them. I think a guy like Zay Flowers or Quentin Johnson, a guy along those lines, could really step in and play a big role for them, especially because they're going to want to be competing with the Chiefs for that AFC West title because they need Justin Herbert to show what kind of quarterback that he can be because we haven't really seen it yet. So we need to see something from Herbo this year. If we don't, they might need to
Move on.
maybe move
Really?
on.
I
But
think Jay Herbo's he's a stud.
he's a stud. I think they're going to keep him, but it's always a possibility.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I have kind of an opposite opinion than you right here. I'm going to go with defense.
Okay.
I think in a hole that they really need to fill is guarding the receivers.
Hmm.
That's why I have Deontay Banks from Maryland. Shout out.
Great
Ian.
pick.
He's a really big Maryland guy. But Deontay Banks, I mean, he ran the Big Ten. He had a really good year against Big Ten opponents, and that's why I really looked forward to in this pick is, yeah, you can have a cornerback that plays out-of-conference games, that has a great game, has 2 interceptions, 3 forced fumbles. I care about man-on-man zone coverage against teams like Ohio State, Michigan. I mean, even Nebraska. I don't even care.
Yeah.
But I think he really proved himself this year, and that's why he's definitely going first round, I think.
I mean, I think you could definitely see Banks go in the spot. I think he's going to go in this range. He could be as high as a Steelers pick, too.
Yeah, I agree.
I know we mentioned – I think this is a spot where you could see a corner go, especially a guy like Banks, but I think you could also definitely see a guy – you could definitely see a guy like Emmanuel Forbes from Mississippi State go here. They're both really good, obviously young corners, so I think that sliding in there for this team would be a really big need for them.
Absolutely. Going on to a team that just made a really big move with OBJ.
Yeah.
The Baltimore Ravens at 22. And don't give me shame if I pronounce this incorrectly. Kalia Casey from Pitt, D lineman. I don't know how to say his name. I just know he's a dog.
I think they actually have more holes than people think they do. They have a lot of older players on this team, and I think that a lot of guys are on their way out. You saw Calais Campbell.
Yeah,
He's
he
gone.
did, yeah.
So that creates a spot automatically on the D-line for a guy like that.
And
so
that's why I put him in there.
Yeah.
Exactly.
I have a little bit of a different take for them. I think this could definitely be a spot where you see, we've mentioned before, Zay Flowers, Quentin Johnson go. It could also be a spot where you see Forbes or Banks go. I think that in that division, you need to score points to win, especially
Absolutely.
going up
That's
against
the
Bengals.
Yeah, very
So
high scoring right
You're
there.
going to have to either stop them with a corner or beat them with a wide receiver. So I think you got to go one of those two. I don't think that going up against those O-lines in that division and a defensive lineman would really help you in the situation, just because I think you can get probably maybe a better value one second, third round. But I think that going a top-tier wide receiver here, top-tier corner be really beneficial for this Ravens team.
Absolutely. Going on to the next team with the 23rd pick, Minnesota has it. This is where they just won the NFC North, had a horrible loss in the playoffs.
Yeah.
You know, Nate, if you're listening right now, you should be ashamed of yourself.
Nate's a Vikings fan?
Nate is indeed a Vikings
I did
fan.
not know that. Shout out to Nate. Very sad for you.
Yeah.
Coming from a Bills fan, though.
Anyways, with Minnesota, with Daniil Hunter going, I think that's a really big hole in the NFL.
Yeah, I agree.
I have been choosing Miles Murphy from Clemson because I think Miles Murphy is definitely a first-round pick. But I don't think he's a top 20 pick just because of how the ACC was this year. It wasn't really competitive. It wasn't really a lot of teams inside the top 20. I mean, you had Clemson, NC State, hey, even Syracuse. Shout out the Orange.
Shout out to the Orange.
And I think Pitt was in there at the beginning of the year. I mean, that team, that conference was not what it lives up to, and that's why I haven't falling this far. But still a good pick, I think, with Miles Murphy from Clemson.
You already mentioned this guy, but Kalijah Cansey from Pitt, I think that he could really step in on this team and fill a role. They definitely need D-line now. I hate to be a broken record, but this could also be a spot where you see a corner go.
Yeah.
So I think that they could also trade out of this spot very easily, too. This could definitely be a spot where they could acquire more assets, maybe get an already established player like we saw the Bills do a few years ago, getting Diggs.
Yeah.
I mean, they need something in that division to try to stay at the top. And with teams like the Bears, the Packers, and the Lions coming, they're really pushing at them right now from the bottom. So they're going to have to make some moves to really stay there and try to stay there for the future.
Yeah, I think this is a really underrated take, is that division's a lot more open than people think it is.
I totally agree.
I mean, a lot of people see that Minnesota had the best record by a good amount. I think they were 4 or 5 wins ahead of the Lions.
Yeah.
Who were in second place.
I think that's a trend that you see a lot for next year, is that a lot of divisions are very open. Like the AFC East is even open.
Yeah.
We mentioned both the Souths. The NFC North is definitely open. Even this is a hot take, but the NFC West could be
I was
open
just about to say that too.
because all the picks that Seattle has and the momentum they have from last year, and the team that San Francisco has, we know is injury prone, especially with a young quarterback there. You never know what's going to happen. So those are all divisions that I think could really be closer than people think.
Expect it to.
Yeah.
With the 24th pick, Jacksonville holds this one. And I really would think there's either two positions that they need. I think they need a D-line or an O-line. Someone on the line on either side of the ball. Right here I have them choosing a D-line with O-lineman coming in the later rounds. But I have them choosing Brian Breesy from Clemson.
Yeah, I think that's a really good pick. Breesy had a really good year last year at Clemson. I don't think he really got the credit he deserved. I really like him as a prospect. I'll mention him a little bit later, but I have Brian Branch going here or around here. I think he'd be a really good fit. I'm looking at this article from SB Nation right here. He's a safety / nickel / everything. So he's just a jack of all trades, kind of like a Buda Baker type of guy. Brian Branch is a really good athlete from what I've heard. So I think he could really go in there and fit on a young, fun Jags team who is looking to try to get back to the divisional this year. So
absolutely. For our next special guest, we have Tommy.
What's up, guys? I'm Tommy. I'm a longtime Giants fan. And we got the 25th pick in the draft.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And if I'm a Giants fan here, I want a wide receiver. And that's why I have the Giants picking Jordan Addison from USC.
Wow, really?
Yeah.
So I hope Jordan Addison gets to us. I think Zay Flowers is a good pick for us, but I don't think they go receiver. I
Really?
think they go Brian Branch
Wow.
to replace Julian Love.
I really like that pick, actually. I never thought about Branch for the Giants, but I think that's a really solid pick for them.
I mean, we just lost Julian Love to the Seahawks. I think receiver we're fine with. We re-signed basically everyone, and we got Paris Campbell from the Colts.
That's a great pickup right there. Underrated pickup, I think, for the offseason.
Very, very.
Really went under the radar, honestly.
We also need corners, but I don't think at our pick we're going to get one that's good. Emmanuel Forbes is good, but he's 165 pounds, which is rough.
It's pretty tiny.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Smaller than everybody in this room right now.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's like my size.
Yeah.
Who do you think the Giants will take in like the later rounds?
So we have a lot of picks the last like 3 rounds in the draft, and I hope what they do is package them and try and get a higher draft pick. But we need a center, and I think we'll take a chance on a receiver. But this is a good center draft. So
It was a good center draft.
Yeah, it is.
Really good O-line draft, too.
It is.
altogether.
Honestly, it's a really big trenches draft, honestly. It's a good D-line draft, O-line draft, tight end draft, too. A lot of guys coming out of this draft that are, kind of large. So,
Yeah, heavy duty.
and,
They get to the work.
we love the guys in the trenches, too. So, the Out of Bounds podcast supports the trenches. So, Tommy, if you guys don't go corner, what do you think that you guys need in the first round?
I mean, receiver is definitely a thing we need to take care of. I mean, we have a lot of older receivers that we signed back, like Sterling Shepard, who's probably not going to play that much. And we also signed back Slayton, which he's decent. And then we also have Hodgins. But I think we could use a receiver, like a playmaking receiver. I think they could use their first on a receiver, but I don't think they get a receiver that's good enough, like without reaching.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree.
So you're saying, you think all the good receivers are going to go before the pick, and then if you would have to, you'd have to reach kind of early second round,
Yeah.
late first round for a guy
Or even
in the
trade
mid
up for a
20s.
guy.
Yeah, which is like something that it's not that big of a need that they have to reach.
Yeah. Do you think there's a chance that they could trade up at all?
I don't think so. I mean, I really do like Nolan Smith. I think he's an insane athlete,
Yeah, he is.
but I really hope he makes it to. We don't even need that, but if he makes it to 25, I think they take him without a doubt. But that's probably my favorite pick in the draft, no matter where he goes.
Absolutely.
All right.
Well,
Thank you, Tommy. Appreciate you.
it. Well, we'll have you on soon.
Thanks.
And with the next pick, we have the Cowboys. And for the Cowboys, introducing Jack Corcoran.
Absolutely honored to be here, and I appreciate the opportunity. I appreciate it.
You know what's funny about Corcoran and Tommy, who was just on? They're both from the same town in Long Island, but one of them's a Giants fan, one of them's a Cowboys fan. So how does that really work, Corcoran? How are you a Cowboys fan?
I don't root for losers, and that's my main reason for being a Cowboys fan.
That's great.
If you look at my other teams, I'm a Knicks fan. Go Knicks, up 3-1 in the playoffs, and as well as a Yankee fan, and you know how that goes. So
And the Dallas Stars.
Yeah, Dallas Stars.
and the
And
Dallas
the Dallas
Stars, of
Stars.
course. I mean, we're in for a hell of a series there, but
Oh, yeah.
we all know they'll pull through.
Absolutely. So, Corcoran with the 26th pick, I have Dallas taking Bijan Robinson from Texas.
I mean, that's ideal. Definitely ideal. Great pick. Huge running back. I mean, he's fast. Very, very fast. And he's also got a little bit of weight to him. He's a little
He
bit of a
does,
heavier
yeah.
guy. And we've got Pollard, who's more of a quick, agile back. So adding Bijan to take over Zeke's more power role, maybe like short third and short role, that'll be huge if it could happen.
Yeah.
I think Bijan could very easily go in the top 15.
Yeah.
I think he could if someone wants to take him. But running backs early, always a risk. I've got Bijan amongst the guys I'm looking at for the Cowboys to select.
Who else are you looking at then?
I got a group of 3.
Oh,
All right. Oh,
group
okay.
of 3. Get ready,
Group of
folks.
3, all of which skill position players.
Here we
I
go.
love this.
Yeah, we're getting exciting this year. Jerry Jones likes a shiny toy. He's going with a skill player.
Let's hear it, Corcoran.
So obviously we've got Bijan already spoken about. We got Zay Flowers.
Yeah.
Zay Flowers, I hear some noise about Quentin Johnson being better. I know that's how you feel, Gav.
Yeah, it is how I feel.
I like Zay. He's a quick guy, but I don't know if he'll fit with the Cowboys' current receivers. That's the only issue there.
Okay.
The other option, third skill position player
Let's hear it.
at the tight end position from the University of Notre Dame, Michael Mayer. An absolute unit of a man.
Yeah.
Take over Dalton Schultz's role as Dak's safety blanket and just be a red zone threat, blocking threat, and he can get vertical if you get him going a little bit.
Yeah.
So
He's got some really good stature to him.
yeah,
He does.
Oh,
yeah, he does.
Yeah, and I think that would be a huge red zone threat.
huge.
Go out for a little
Especially-
drag or an out, like that's a big boy to have on the line, but it's a great receiver. when it comes to his hands and ability to catch the football in space.
Especially after losing a big guy for your team like Dalton Schultz, you're going to need somebody to come right away and fill that role for the team. So I think that'd be a really good pick for them. You got anybody else? You said 3.
Those are my
Those
three.
are the 3?
I got Mayer, I got Bijan, and I've got Zay Flowers.
I love it.
Those
I
are
love
my
it.
3.
Those are great.
I love that.
And I've got a little. I know we're only talking first round here, but I got a little spice for the later rounds,
wanna
maybe
hear
the
it.
middle rounds.
I want to
go.
hear it.
The Cowboys will pick a quarterback,
Oh.
and I would not be surprised if that quarterback was Hendon Hooker.
Oh, wow.
You heard it here first.
Bold prediction by Jack Corcoran here.
What about Stetson Bennett Corcoran?
Stetson could do it. Jerry's looking for anyone to win him a Super Bowl before he knocks. So, I mean, we're looking for a proven winner here. Stetson's won. Yeah, give it
He
little
has won.
respect on
Yep.
Bennett's name there. But I
2-time
think-
champion.
2-time
yeah.
champ.
Oh,
back
yeah.
to back.
Oh, yeah.
But I think Hooker comes to Dallas. I think he does. Give Dak a little urgency. Dak's going in. He's looking for an extension now. They're
Yeah.
trying to get it done. I'm hoping they don't. Make him play for it this year.
Yeah. gotta
And
prove
bring
himself.
in a quarterback to compete with him. And if you bring someone in who looks just as good, I'm sorry, Dak, but you haven't done enough
Hit the
for
road.
us.
Hit the road.
Haven't done enough.
Absolutely.
Love it, Corcoran.
Thank
All right, anything else before you head off?
Go Cowboys, go Yankees, go Stars, go Knicks, and I'm sorry for what's coming next with the next guest.
Corcoran, it's a pleasure. We'll have
Thank
you
you.
on once again. We'll see you later, Corcoran.
For our last special guest, for the next pick, the Buffalo Bills. We got Ryan Taylor in the building, ladies and gentlemen.
How's it going? How's it going?
And
So-
Ryan, what do you think that the Bills should be looking at here in the draft this year?
Well, I mean, we're drafting 27th overall. Let's not forget who the last 27th pick was with the Bills, and that was Tre'Davious White. He's been pretty good for
Pretty
us.
good.
Is that why he wears number 27?
I
No.
probably I don't know.
I don't know. Never know.
Yeah.
Well, does anybody know his number in college?
He was he was like, remember, he was 7 for that one season, right? And then
Played for
he
LSU,
was
correct?
20. He was,
Yeah,
he
he's
was
from
20
LSU.
something.
Wow.
20. So I don't know what exact number he was, but
Interesting. But yeah, tell us who you have for your first
oh, he
round.
was 18 actually, 18. All right, so obviously at 27, I mean, you're getting a good player, obviously, but not as good as a top 10 or that. So best player available, and I think that would probably be a receiver like maybe Jalen Hyatt or Zay Flowers. Maybe I'm pretty high on those two guys. Because Davis, I mean, I like Davis, but it's always you can never have enough receivers on your team for depth in that. Another guy I really like is Jack Campbell from Iowa.
Love that guy.
That's a great pick.
Love that guy.
Yeah. I hope he falls to us. I mean, he was like-
Linebacker.
yeah, he's a pretty big guy. I mean, Iowa. I mean, they had they had a really good defense last year,
They did.
and he was one of the main parts, if not the main part, on that defense.
Exactly.
And then I wouldn't mind for the Drew Sanders pick from Arkansas, but I don't know if he's going to really make it there. That'll be maybe if he falls to us, maybe you can go him. He'll probably be the best player there.
Yeah, he's a really good player. I think I agree with Campbell. I think Campbell would fit in perfectly. He could definitely start from day one for the Bills. Zay Flowers was mentioned by almost everybody,
everybody.
besides Ian, all of our special guests. So
This is who I have the Bills picking.
who, Zay Flowers?
I have the Bills. I have Zay Flowers dropping to the Bills.
That'd be
By the way,
awesome.
speaking about the Bills, I'm outnumbered in this room. For
That's
the
true.
first Time.
For the first time. It's a great feeling,
2 to
honestly.
1. You know, I mean, both these guys from Buffalo. Ryan, you're a season ticket holder.
I am a season ticket
Who do you
holder.
want to see playing on that field next year? Out of everybody you mentioned,
Of everyone I mentioned, probably got to go with Jack Campbell just because of Tremaine Edmonds leaving, and I think we need to fill a hole in the defense there.
absolutely.
I think
I would
that's
love
the
that.
number one pick.
Go Bills.
Go Bills.
So Ryan, you were mentioning your first round guys, but going into like the later rounds, who do you see the Bills picking, or what positions do you think they need to fill except for a linebacker?
I don't know. Maybe go like another like a defensive lineman guy because I mean, how many of we only have like 2 or 3 signed after next year? Or something
Yeah,
like
we have
that,
a lot
right?
of contracts up after next
yeah,
year.
so maybe a D lineman. I don't know. And then, I mean, you could always probably get a pretty good. I mean, we got Davis in the 4th round.
Yep.
I mean, he's been not bad, but you can always get a receiver there too. I mean, maybe if Hyatt maybe falls to the 2nd, maybe I don't know.
Maybe trade up for him too.
Maybe
they
trade up
could
for
trade
him,
up
yeah.
for him. I mean,
Thank you,
Absolutely.
Ryan. Really appreciate it. Go Bills.
go Bills. Thanks
And,
for having me, guys.
Absolutely.
Anything else before you go?
No, just thank you once again.
Absolutely.
fun
Ryan.
Yes, sir.
Hey, you'll be on soon. You'll
All
be
right,
on soon.
perfect.
We'll see you, RT.
All right, have a good one.
Yeah, for Buffalo, I mean, I was just on the phone with my brother yesterday, and he was mentioning that in the first round, they might pick around a receiver. They won't pick a receiver, but they'll pick around him. Shout out Connell. I just had a conversation with him last night. He says in like the second to fourth round, second, third, or fourth, they're going to make a trade.
The Bills?
And they're getting your guy, DeAndre Hopkins.
I would love that.
And that's what Connell says he would do if he was Brandon Beane. And you know what? Connell, I like your take. I hope it happens for Buffalo. I mean, I'm rooting for you guys, but we'll see what happens with the Bills.
Honestly, I totally agree with what Ryan said. I think Jack Campbell would be an amazing pick here. Obviously, a wide receiver would be great too, but that's always the flashy pick. But
Yeah.
I think really looking at team needs right now, linebacker has been a underrated kind of need for us the last few years. With Tremaine Edmonds leaving to the Bears, Matt Milano still being there. We re-signed Tyler Medikevich, who's more of a special teams guy, but he can probably slide in there. We brought A.J. Klein back. We have a really there's a really big drop-off between Matt Milano and our next best linebacker. So I think really fitting in there, Jack Campbell will be a really good fit. I think he can learn a lot from Matt Milano because it's probably pretty easy to play alongside Matt Milano because he covers so much of the field. So Jack Campbell as a rookie would not be he wouldn't be left on his own, let's say in the middle of the field. He wouldn't be on an island by himself. He'll have help, especially with Poyer and Hyde behind him and Tre'Davious White probably on his side. He's got a lot of help around there, and I think sliding him right there, he could look really, really good, potentially be a sneaky pick for Defensive Rookie of the Year, no matter where he goes.
You know, I do agree with that statement, and I think, and for Matt Milano, I think this is a really big season because he might get that captain patch this year.
He definitely could. He's been around a long time, longer than people realize, and especially with Edmonds leaving, he's going to need to step up, even though he's stepped up more than he already has to the last few years. He's been picking up so much slack from the dropped coverages that Edmonds has. Oof. Even though I really do like Edmonds, I think he's a really good pickup for the Bears, but Matt Milano I think is just an incredible player. And I think Jack Campbell could definitely play similarly to Edmonds. And it would just be like leading off from last year, honestly.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think especially with Matt Milano having taken a bigger role, because they will take a linebacker somewhere in this draft.
That for sure. Have to.
I think he's going to be a great mentor to any one of the linebackers that you guys will choose this year.
And let me just mention this. I know we just mentioned him a little bit ago, but there's a slight rumor in the 5th round, if he gets there, 5th, 6th round, that we could potentially be in play for Stetson Bennett as our backup QB.
Wow.
So I don't know how Bills fans really feel about that. I don't really have an opinion either because I hope our backup never has to play. Knocking on wood right now, I hope you hear that. But I think that going into later rounds, we could definitely be looking for a QB in the 6th, 7th round.
Yeah. Maybe
just for insurance.
Yeah, insurance and a Mr. Irrelevant pick, maybe kind of
thing.
Maybe.
Maybe.
Going on, we have the Cincinnati Bengals who just beat the Bills in the playoffs.
Thank you for reminding me, Gavin.
Absolutely. In Buffalo, too.
Thank you for reminding me, Gavin.
Yeah, of course, Charles. But I see Cincinnati. I like them a lot as a team. I think they've really come together ever since that Super Bowl run. I was a little nervous last year after losing like C.J. Uzomah and losing some guys on their defense. I was like getting all worried, but I mean they made an AFC Championship and they almost won the game.
Yeah, I mean they could have definitely won the game, but they had one call not go their way, and that was the story. I mean it seems to be like that a lot for the Chiefs, but I'm not going to really get into that. I think this is a spot where you could definitely see the Bengals feel a need because they just lost Hayden Hurst. I think this is a slam dunk pick for them. If Michael Mayer is there for Notre Dame, you have to take him. If you're the Bengals, you have to take him. He's an incredible player that could definitely go where we put Dalton Kincaid. I think that Michael Mayer is definitely better than what his draft pick will be.
I agree.
Especially if he's a first-round pick. So I think the Bengals here fill in a need, just keep the offense going. Michael Mayer would fit in perfectly with the Bengals offense.
Yeah, exactly. I was thinking the same exact idea as they just lost Hayden Hurst, and he wasn't even that good. Put a first-round tight end with Joe Burrow, that's dangerous.
Yeah.
That's why I think either Dalton Kincaid or Michael Mayer, one of the two, watch out for that offense.
Yeah, and it's really scary, honestly.
For your soul if you're going against the Bengals.
It's really scary, honestly, because it's hard to think that they can get better on offense,
right.
Especially with all those weapons. I mean, their offensive line is also very underrated. I mean, they have
Very.
Lael Collins on there. He's been really good for a long time.
They just got someone else as well, Orlando Brown,
They did just get Orlando Brown.
and that's a huge pickup. For
Yeah, I
them
mean,
on
their
the line.
tackles are amazing.
Yeah.
So Orlando Brown going from contender to contender in the AFC.
Yeah.
Maybe he'll make his way to the Bills next. I guess we'll see.
You wish.
But moving on, we got the New Orleans Saints, who this was a pick that was the 49ers. And I think this could be a really interesting pick for them.
Yeah, I agree. I have them going with an edge here, in B.J. Ujulari from LSU. And I think when I think of the LSU Tigers last year, they were really proving themselves at the end of the season. And he had a great end of the season run. I think that's really where he proved himself into being a first-round pick. I mean, he already had a good reputation getting into the season, but I think ending it strong and not having too many penalties, that's where I have him going in the first round.
Yeah, I think that's definitely a big need for them. I think another big need for them is the D-line. And I think that I'm going to shout out my guy here, Maisie Smith from Michigan. He's a great player, projected, late first-round guy, early second-round guy for teams. He's 6'3", 337.
That's a big boy.
He can really clog the middle for a team, especially
He was really good, too.
especially in a division with not great quarterbacks. If he can close that pocket, maybe force some throws, Marshawn Lattimore could be there for a pick.
Yeah.
They got guys who can really play in the secondary there too. Underrated secondary, honestly, in my opinion. But I think that could definitely be a really good pick for them to try to make the pocket collapse on the quarterback. For young quarterbacks, like we said, Bryce Young probably going to be in that division. Baker Mayfield, whoever the Falcons are going to start.
Yeah.
So it's going to be a really interesting division this year. I know we sound like a broken record once again, but I think
It's
that
wide open.
Maisie Smith would be a great pick here.
Yeah, I completely agree with that being wide open. I don't see anything really being too wrong of a pick. as
No.
well.
No.
Unless they draft a quarterback, but they're not. So it's like, I don't think they can really miss.
This is a very hard first round to really mock
Especially-
out
Yeah.
because there's a lot of similar positions, a lot of similar players. It's just a lot about what teams want, but it's hard to figure out what teams want because they're always so across the board. So moving on here, Super Bowl losers, the Philadelphia Eagles. They have another first-round pick. I mean, this is incredible.
Yeah.
Gavin, what do you got for them for their second pick?
If I were to make a prediction, I think this is definitely a pick they trade. I think they trade out of the first round, try to get another asset. If some team is knocking on, afraid that Kansas City will choose someone. But if they do keep the pick, I have them choosing Will McDonald from Iowa State. He's an edge rusher. He's a dog.
Yeah, I think that definitely edge could be something that they could look for. Another thing they could look for, like we said, was something in the secondary, no matter what it might be. This could be another situation where you look at an offensive first pick, defensive second pick, defensive first pick, offensive second pick
Lots
for
of
this
teams with
Eagles
two
team.
picks in the first round.
Yeah, this could be also a spot, like you said, where a team like the Dolphins, the Rams, a team that does not have a first-round pick, the Broncos, they can move up and try to maybe steal a player ahead of the Chiefs for the next pick. I mean, the Broncos could really slide in here and try to maybe, rustle some feathers in the AFC West.
I love that. But moving on to the AFC West with the last pick in the first round, we have the reigning Super Bowl champions, the Kansas City Chiefs. And you were saying this guy's name a lot, but I'm going to say him now. I think Emmanuel Forbes from Mississippi State, cornerback, goes here.
Yeah, I mean, that's a really good pick. They always somehow have like a thin cornerback room, even though I feel like they draft a corner every single
Yeah.
year.
That's true.
I feel like their secondary could use some work, but I think that D-line is an underrated aspect of their defense that needs help. Also linebacker, and they could definitely go linebacker here, try to get a guy that can maybe drop back into coverage, so like an edge guy. So you could definitely see a guy like Felix and Duke Umaza from Kansas State go here. He had a really good season for the Wildcats, and I feel like the Chiefs need something on that defensive line to where, besides Chris Jones, to where they could really pressure the quarterback.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I think this is the first pick where I'd say I definitely don't see him picking anybody for the offense here. I think they just need to get back to the defense. Or, I mean, worst comes to worst, I mean, if someone's still up there that's a receiver that they want to grab, why not? But I really think their offense is pretty much set.
I was just going to mention that they could definitely go receiver here. I wouldn't be surprised, especially if like the Bills don't go receiver, if the Bengals miss out on Meyer or
Yeah.
on Dalton Kincaid. They could definitely go tight end here, try to get a backup tight end for Kelsey, because Kelsey's getting up there in age. Honestly, I know he's got a few years left, but
Thinking about the future, too.
they got to think about the future a little bit too. So this could definitely be a spot where they could really be all over the board, because obviously Super Bowl champions, they're a pretty complete team.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, unfortunately, there's no 32nd team this year because
No.
the Dolphins love to play around with Tua's head.
Yep.
So,
Yep.
fortunately, it has to end here. But, I mean, we'd love to see what you guys would think about any other picks that you guys think about in the second round, or any picks you think we missed in the first round.
Yeah, where do you guys think Hendon Hooker's gonna go? That was a guy that we mentioned a little bit. If I'm gonna throw this out there, I think he's could definitely be a pick for the Rams.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
That would be a really good fit there, because they could start Stafford this year, go to Hooker next year. Really interesting to see how this all gonna play out, the whole draft.
Yeah, this is going to be a fun one, folks.
Definitely.
You're going to want to get your popcorn for Thursday night.
Oh yeah.
Might be a long one, though, especially when you're Charles and you have to wait 26 picks to get just the number 27.
Yeah, we're probably gonna be picking around 12:30 again. I wish we were picking in the 1 o'clock range. That means we'd be Super Bowl champions, but I guess it's okay. Thank you for listening.
Absolutely. Thank you, guys.
I really appreciate all the support. Let us know what we can do better. We're trying to improve every day. Every time we come in here, we're trying to try something out that's different. We're taking this semester as a trial run, and then next semester really hit the ground hard, get going.
Pedal the metal for season 2, guys.
Oh, season 2 coming very soon. We're not done yet in season 1 though.
Not
We
done.
got some good episodes coming up, like we mentioned. NBA second round predictions coming
and the rest,
soon,
second and through the rest of the playoffs.
and the rest of the playoffs. So we got some things cooking, and it's gonna be fun. It's
Yeah,
gonna
absolutely.
be a fun end of the semester right here.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you guys for tuning in. If you guys have anything to add, or if you guys want to subtract from a video, just please feel free to reach out on Instagram. It is at Out of Bounds Podcast with a dot between every single word.
Yes, there is.
And let us know if you liked the special guests. If you guys liked it, we'll keep it going. And hope everybody enjoys the draft. Get some nice beverages or get a snack or two with you and enjoy it.
Enjoy.
Absolutely. Thanks, guys, for listening. Have an amazing day.
Have a great day.